guide you from fear to love. And deepening that journey, as you know, we can discover that, whoa, there are these deeper roots of fear or woundedness or whatever it may be that we need to turn our attention to them and welcome them. It's we could say while our illusions are illusions, the way he put it was, yet do they have the power to bind. The spell of an illusion can run quite deep.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Maria Felipe show. I'm so grateful and thankful that you're here. As you know, we've given like a whole refresh to the podcast, and well, I'm just so excited because the episodes are more captivating. We're going deeper, and the whole purpose of this is to really heal and to stop, stop the caca and start to really practice what we are learning in this cuckoo life, as I like to say it. But today I'm so excited. I mean, you can already see him. He's already on the screen. But I have an incredible guest. And for those that don't know him, I also want to share this with my community, is his a little bit about Jayem. So Jayem is also known as John Mark Hammer, is a spiritual teacher and author and channel who is best known for the Way of Mastery trilogy, which I will be sharing more on that. It's a series of books, The Way of the Heart, The Way of Transformation, and The Way of Knowing. And they're not just books, they're truly an experience. These texts are said to be the result of his direct channeled communication with Joshua, with Jesus, and James' work focuses on guiding individuals towards spiritual awakening, self-mastery, and living a life centered in love, which is totally what we're about here on the Live Your Happy Happy train. And just JM, you know how much I love you, and we've, connected in so many ways in this lifetime. So I'm just so grateful you're here, and I'm excited for this conversation that I feel is really gonna help people.
Hmm. Well, it's really good to be here with you too. I'm so grateful for you and all that you do to bring light to the world and invite others into the potential to become liberated, free, happy, and really have therefore a positive touch that can become infinitely greater as we grow and heal, as we touch the lives of everyone we meet, bank tellers, grocery store clerks, it doesn't matter. As Joshua once said, you are only here to bless the world. Yet to do that, you have to clear up the blocks, as you know, the egoic patterns or fears, the unconscious patterns, so that that light can move us in new ways. Yet that becomes, as you know, an exciting adventure. Like, what's possible? Oh, hmm, yay. So I'm happy to be here with you.
I'm so excited to go on this ride with you. And again, everyone, this is spontaneous. We're just going to see how spirit leads of what's most helpful to remembering we've never left the mind of God, because ultimately, we really haven't. It just appears that we have. But this appears very real. JM, I see you there and I see somebody here. So we need to play with that. And that's what's important is that balance. But let's talk a little bit about the Way of Mastery, which has been these series of books have changed my life. And how the Way of Mastery came into my life is I, as an author and a teacher, I get a lot of books sent to me for endorsements or just to read them or to promote them. And um, never really got into that because I'm not much of a reader. So that's already an issue because I don't like reading so much. But I had someone that I met in Greece. I was doing a retreat there. I was invited to speak alongside Gary Renard and Jennifer Hadley and such. And there was a participant there that was going on and on about your series of books and the practices of forgiveness that are available within this trilogy. But not only that, um, the practicality of the Course in Miracles and being a course teacher, I was intrigued. I was intrigued by that. So when I got at that time, it was the version with all the books in one, and I got the book. He sent the book to my home, which was such a nice gift. And by my surprise, I actually opened it and read the whole thing. I usually don't do. Jayam changed my life, changed my experience. I was just looking at it right now, and just when I open it, I feel something, which is which is
Mm.
out there. It's a little woo-woo, but I literally feel something when I open it because there's just so much truth in the channel you did. But I just want to speak to um why is this book so important, and why the heck does it feel so good when I read it? That's to start there. I mean, what'd you do there? What's happening? I know it's Jesus.
What happened with that? There's Well, I think Joshua just sprinkled some magic dust into the words, and actually, it is what I'd like to say, just so everybody's really clear. I don't consider it my work. Uh, Um, there was a stage in my Joshua appeared in my living room in a field of light. This is way back in the last century, 1987. So that'll date me a little bit, but. Began quite a profound journey of transformation. He said he had come as my final teacher. Didn't know what that meant at the time, but a lot of inner work had to take place under his guidance. There was a stage at which he asked for permission to, as he put it, communicate with my friends through the body you insist is yours. In other words, maybe this isn't just mine. It's nature, part of creation. And somehow I gave permission to him, not knowing what that was going to be. And without going into the extraordinary story of that, I would experience him literally lifting me out of the body. I could see the body in the room from some other vantage point, and I could watch him pervade the body. I don't know what else to call it. Then he would begin. He always started, as you know, with now we begin. And he would, provide his teaching. So I think what you're feeling is his presence, his wisdom, and his love permeating. It's like it creates this field. And as you know, as you dive into it and breathe with it, and he gives you many, many little practices, asks very important questions. And if you give yourself to that, what he said is you will begin to come into alignment with my presence and my being, which is actually the original meaning of to pray in my name, coming from Christianity. In Aramaic, in my name meant in the atmosphere of, in the quality of,
Mhm.
not the name of Jesus, but the vibrational quality, the
The
love of
experience of it.
God, the experience that something is felt that,
Wow.
you know, yeah. So, and that's what happens. Over the years, so many people from around the world have shared what you just shared, that they feel this presence of love, yet a depth of wisdom. Yet he conveys it and guides you in ways that are deceptively simple, like any great master knows how to do. So I think that's what you're feeling is this field of his presence and his energy and his wisdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have just for those that don't know, yeah, I know you shared a little bit about the book and its practices and journaling and the meditations. There's a lot there. But I did print a little excerpt here just so everyone knows what is the way of mastery. Um, you already know how excited I'm about it, but for you to know, it's the way of mastery is a pathway of enlightenment that reestablishes Jesus's original teachings. Okay. And in doing so, it offers a profound, in-depth roadmap to support your soul from the first inkling to awakening all the way into knowing your most essential self. Okay. And this is the experience of it that we're talking about. It aims at nothing less than a radical shift of identity from the ego, which is a false self, to the Christ self. I'm getting goosebumps, aiding students to increasingly live in and create from Christ's mind itself. So that's a little blurb that I found online too, so that people are clear of what we're looking at here. And the exercises are so powerful, and there's so many of them in the
Hmm.
different the different books, as well as journaling. There's a lot of journaling. There's a practice that you journal every day. I did that. Spiritual Olympics, baby. Like, you can't play here. You gotta, you gotta want it. You gotta have that willingness the course talks about to do the practices. But well worth it. And I think it's time for this uncompromising nature if we really want to change our minds. There's a
Yeah.
part that you talk about that, that you create your mind, you create your experience. Um,
Mhm.
so speaking of that, JM, um, why do you feel this book is so important? And again, I know that you're the channel of it, and that's very clear. JM is
Mhm.
the channel of it. Why do you feel that these words that Jesus expressed through you are so important? And how can it
Mhm.
help people that are still on the sidelines, or want to change, but they don't experience change? They're what do you call it? Too okay with mind wandering, um, and just start to let's do it. That's where I'm at
Mhm.
right now. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, why is it so important? And you mentioned mind wandering. I heard you mention when you began that we've never left the mind of God. And this is one of his beautiful principled teachings that really struck me. The way he put it was, you exist only in the infinite loveliness of the mind of God. Yet within that infinite potential is the freedom to wander, like the prodigal son who goes off, leaves the father's kingdom to see what he can do on his own. Until, of course, it's like, oh my God, what have I done? So, this is the journey of all of us. We have all participated in what he calls the dream of separation. It doesn't take any, it doesn't take place anywhere except in the infinite intelligence of the mind. Yet the mind has, as we know, infinite creative potential. We can be run by, we create the ego, we're run by fear, we worry about what people will think. Inside, we're suffering because we're cut off from our source. If you look at the word forgiveness in Aramaic, washwoklan literally means to be returned to original flow, to be returned, to be liberated from the judgments and the hurts and the fears that have knotted us up. When you really get to the depth of true forgiveness, there's a liberation, a gratitude. The heart opens, the mind can flow through the body and bring forth new creations. So, forgiveness for Joshua is what it's all about. And there's a depth and a journey to that. So, in the Way of Mastery, which, by the way, isn't just the beauty of those three books, before that, there were many, many recorded lessons of him channeling. They're called the early years. And oh my God, there's so much depth in them. And then also some later years, later after that, the Way of teachings were published, there are several ongoing things that he's done. And it's all designed to help anyone who sincerely recognizes that they're feeling stuck, limited, or have a sense that there's something more, there's something deeper within me and in the potentials of reality. That's what he serves, are those, and he gives very expert guidance. You mentioned all the many like meditations and exercises that he gives, but they're all within the context of what he's beginning to reveal step by step. And if you just dive into his questions and his practices, you really let letting a master teacher guide you from fear to love and deepening that journey. As you know, we can discover that, whoa, there are these deeper roots of fear or woundedness or whatever it may be that we need to turn our attention to them and welcome them. It's we could say while our illusions are illusions, the way he put it was, yet do they have the power to bind. The spell of an illusion can run quite deep, and he offers ways and means to feel safe at looking at those things and allowing them to be transformed in the deepest depth of the mind itself. And it always liberates the heart, the mind, and the soul into greater union with the divine, greater freedom, greater inspiration, greater potentiality, and the inner confidence to move toward it. So I love what you said about willingness. That's a key for him. Uh, all you need to do is offer a little willingness all the time. And a little willingness plus sustained devotion brings about liberation and growth.
Yeah.
That's the journey. And he serves only that. That's all he's about. He doesn't want to be worshiped. I'm your brother and your friend. That's it. Here you go. I'm here with you. He wants all beings to become liberated from this extraordinary dream of separation that generates so much conflict and suffering. We see it outpictured as the world.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, we're actually going to get into that, Jesus's teachings a little bit more, and the Lord's Prayer and such, and the
Mm,
Sermon on the Mount prayers and such, and things that you have received in regards to that, and based it and inspired by your next book that is coming through. And
mm,
I wanted to just end this part with, I was going through one of the most difficult times in my life in my marriage, my second, with Christian, and my second marriage, my first marriage, and then divorce. So, I was, a lot of old stuff was coming up, stuff I thought had healed, but I was still very much after I gave birth to Ari. There was also, the hormones and such. After you give birth, a lot of stuff is going on. But on top of that, a lot of my old insecurities came up, my codependencies, my fears were in full effect. I'm never
mm,
going to forget it that I was in Europe and I was rattled with fear. I was so put off and insecure about Christians' indecision of being together. And now I look back and I'm like, seriously, he was, for those that don't know, he was 25 at the time. I'm pregnant. He has no job. I mean, now I get it. Like it was nothing personal, but at that time I was riddled with fear, like this person and taking it so personal. I read a section of The Way of Mastery, and I really cannot remember which one it was because there's so many incredible sections, but I read it, Jayam, I'm getting goosebumps, over and over and over again, just to remember, because I was so lost in the illusion. I was just hanging on for dear life. And I just read it over and over again. And it gave me so much comfort. And I just was reminded again. It really shifted so many things for me. That's the power of
mm,
what words can do. But the most important, the power is that uncompromising nature to want to heal. And to
mm.
see there's so much more behind this illusion. There's so much more behind this pain. I
Yeah,
want to get over that. So
yeah. Mm,
that's all I have to say.
mm,
That's like encompasses my whole experience with your book. And because you lived it with me, I talked to Jayam a little bit about it as we went on, and Christian had a
mm,
conversation with him. But um, I love where I am now. I love where I'm at and the forgiveness that has taken place till then, and the confidence I feel my relationship is not ego confidence, it's a confidence of what real love looks like. And that's my prayer. God, show me what real
mm,
love is here. Not the, you complete me love, the fairy tale love, the love that we've been taught. Is like, I want to know that big, fat, unconditional, juicy love. And that's what I'm
mm.
up for. And I'm telling you,
Mhm.
it's such a beautiful goal. It's not clingy. It's allowing the person to be where they want to be. It's not sacrifice. It's freedom. I'm in, I'm in, I'm there.
Mm.
I'm ready.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Actual, as we grow in the depth of what real love is, it deposits us increasingly into a genuine freedom and become free to allow all beings to choose and be however they wish to be because they're simply playing out a potential in this infinite potentiality of the mind of God. And they're given complete freedom to explore. And as we all know, our own experience and exploration always will lead us, no matter what, to the desire for God. All of our suffering will bring us there. Everything the prodigal son did in its journey away ends up bringing it back to the decision to return home and willing to welcome help. And then Spirit goes, glad you asked. And it begins to pour in the grace, miracles, transformation. It is all about love. And love is this incredible power that can create, it can hold all things. There's no hour of fear, there's no ego in love. It's just love. When you really begin, as you know, to truly feel it and rest into its reality, which is really our journey, to rest away from fear into the reality of love and its light and intelligence and vision, we find ourselves increasingly at peace, able to hold the whole world and the path of all beings. And one begins to realize this is what love looks like and feels like. This capacity of freedom. It isn't the freedom of the ego of trying to push against to get away from, but the freedom that can hold it all without losing the self or the self's connection to God, the infinite divine, and the space in which love can meet the moment with great wisdom. And it's an incredible journey. And I guess the core of his message, whether it be Course in Miracles or Way of Mastery, is that you can do what I have done. You can become as I am if you're willing to bring that willingness, curiosity, and devotion to true change. What a beautiful, beautiful goal when that desire awakens in someone, as you're describing. I want the big thing. I don't just like, yes. Yeah.
Excited.
Yes.
I get so excited. It's like I express it like that because that's like the way that
Yeah.
I really try to understand, like people
Mhm.
understand, wow, this is at least that's what it blows up in me in a way. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm up for that,
Mm.
you know? It's like
That's
an excitement
yeah.
and a desire and so exciting. But yep,
There. It's a desire. Desire, as he said, is so important. It's the first factor in everything we've ever experienced is desire. I can remember years ago, I didn't even know I was operating from it, but my desire was, I was like, what, 21, 22? How can I make enough money to get through the month? That was my desire. That was as big.
I think everybody could
That's
relate.
desire.
Everybody can
Yeah,
relate to
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And here's Joshua shows up and he's taking me on this journey to my desire is that all beings awaken into infinite oneness with the divine and are living their deepest happiness in that flow. Well, those are two radically different
Opposing,
desires.
opposing desires. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the essence is desire. What is the deepest truth of what I've been desiring? If I look at my life, it is always the result of what's operating within me as my desire. Am I aware of that? Like when I was in my 20s, all I want to do is survive. That's good enough. Well, okay. But something can deepen. The nature of desire can go much deeper, much broader, much higher. And God or the divine meets us and helps us unfold us into that. There's always, as you know, a much greater sense of what I call the palpable presence of the divine or God or light. As we grow and heal, we're much more intimately aware of our oneness. We do exist only in the infinite loveliness of the mind of God.
Yeah.
But to know that, to feel it, and to learn, as you know, to operate in it and from it is so liberating and fulfilling. And like watching a good movie. I mean, have you ever watched a good movie and then you can't help but want others to see the movie?
Yes.
It's like,
Totally get
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, it's kind of, I think Joshua, tapped into the ultimate movie.
Yeah.
And then he went, oh, everybody's got to see this. Everybody's got to taste this.
And
And
also did such extreme things so that people get it. It's like, hey, yo, like I just did do it. It was intense, like getting people
yes,
to see and to walk and the whole practice of non-judgment. And speaking of Jesus and Joshua is like you're so connected to that, and we're all connected. It's just are we
yeah,
choosing to listen? A lot of
yes.
judgment,
Mm,
separation with what Jesus's persona, what the teaching is, and so much misconstrued, and that's what I want to get
mm,
into now, because you had
mm,
disclosed to me through an email before this podcast, and it's juicy. In Spanish we call it chisme, which is like chisme is like it's like a little gossip, but this is good. This is like for the good gossip. It's not like the gossip for people to get in trouble. It's like the healing gossip, the good chisme. That's what I'm trying to
mm,
get. So the point I'm trying to make is that you wrote, and I'll just share a little bit, is okay. So much has unfolded with his original teachings of both the Lord's Prayer and this word, be
Beatitudes.
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 Yeah.
Beatitudes.
Mhm.
So the Lord's Prayer, Beatitudes. So a lot has been lost in translation with what occurred, and I know that the Beatitudes was a lot from Matthew. I think it's from the Matthew, I think, and Luke, right? I think when he was different.
Yeah, that's where the people may be familiar with them. The blessed are they state, blessed are the poor in spirit. We
Yeah,
could start right there. Think about the words blessed are the poor in spirit. And just notice what you feel as you hear this, like you're watching a priest go, blessed are the poor in spirit.
it's not very
Is that in,
it's not very
no,
motivating.
it's not, there's no motivation. There's like, what does that, who wants to be poor? But in Aramaic, this is why well, you begin to realize how astonishingly what we've been given through Christianity is to say lost in translation is kind of being polite. It's like, oh my God. Foreign
My
spirit
God.
in Aramaic. Yeah, oh my God. Foreign spirit in Aramaic was a well known not a slang, but a well used phrase that everybody understood. For instance, if I said, wow, anybody seen Maria? Where is she today? And let's say, Christian goes, oh, she's poor in spirit. I would be going, wow, good for her, because what it meant was I have a decision to make. I know if I rely on my own mind, things won't work out so well. I need to go away, sit under a tree, sit by a stream, spend time in breath, which is very important for Joshua, clear my mind, get surrendered, and really invite God to help show me the way. So to be poor in spirit was actually an act of wisdom. I need to attune so that my choices serve the highest and best good for all. And that gets,
Wow. That's like a
yeah.
whole other meaning. That's like a whole nother.
Oh my gosh. It's like,
But he did say it that way, but we've construed the meaning. Is that what you're saying? Or
no,
oh,
he
you didn't
used,
even
of
say
course,
it that way.
he spoke in Aramaic, and even the fragments of his teachings didn't begin to be translated for a minimum of at least 100 years later into Greek, and then later into Latin, and then into the Germanic languages and into English. It got distorted. And there is some evidence that not all of that distortion was simply innocent. In other words, a church was being formed hundreds of years later to serve the Roman Empire. Constantine wanted to unify his empire, and he knew that a common religious belief system can be a big unifier, if that makes sense for you. So
Yeah.
he literally ordered many. There are like 200 or 300 various groups after the time of Joshua, and he basically whittled it down to a handful, put them in a room, and said, "Create a theology, create doctrines." So we can create a church that unifies my empire. That was the founding of Christianity. So, anyway, to make a long story short, much was lost in translation from his original Aramaic. And Poor in Spirit is a really good illustration of just how profound the difference is between what we've heard and the theological belief filters that it's been given to us. We're guilty and blood.
It sounds
Jesus
it
died for our
sounds
sins, and
you can feel the sound of the of like manipulation or fear versus
yeah,
what described it really means and where it's coming from and the saying that
yeah,
it's very different.
yeah,
It makes total sense, and I never thought
yeah,
about that. And I mean, I don't want to
yeah.
get into it because it'll be long, but how did you channel it to Jesus? How did this
Mhm.
experience happen, or how did you get these insights? I'm curious before we continue with the Lord's
Well,
Prayer.
yeah, it's a great question. It brings me back to how this started. I think it was like 1996. He was just completing the Way of Knowing lesson. So after a 3 year period of, channeling the way of the heart, way of transformation, and way of knowing. Um, and one day it suddenly occurred out of the blue. I asked him a question about the Lord's Prayer. And he responded by saying it in Aramaic, which I had never heard in this life at all. But the vibration of it just poured through me. It electrified every cell. It's like, oh my God. Then my mind's like, but what does it mean? What did he said? My beloved brother, it would be very good of you to contemplate and bring back an ancient understanding of these teachings. That's all he would say. So I would drop into meditation, and I'd heard him. It was recorded in my body, like listening to a piece of music over and over. And I would close my eyes and I could hear him saying the prayer. And it took me about maybe 14, 16 months to slowly assimilate what he was saying so that I could say it just as he had said it. I still didn't necessarily know the depth of it, but I began to notice that certain words stuck with me or would stay with me during the day, like washwoklan. Like, what's going on? Why is this word repeating in my mind? So I would ask him about it. And I remember he said, well, you are well aware of the need for forgiveness. I go, yeah. He said, this is the original word that I used when I taught those who came to me. And then he said, but Washwokwan reveals that forgiveness has depth. It is in the end a return to an ancient and eternal foundation of your being. And then he just asked me one question. What may be left in your mind that may be obstructing your own return to the ancient beginning in which you were in perfect union with the Father? So now he's turning it into, oh, I have to take a look with it, a living practice. So, oh, God, okay. So it was a slow process of unfolding the prayer, assimilating it in my life, beginning to see its steps. Um, so it's gone on for some time. And then I began to incorporate it into teaching, workshops and seminars and courses on it, all designed to help um, others understand the depth, not just what he said, but the living practices within it.
Mm.
It is transformational. Like, for instance, the Lord's Prayer came first. He never gave it as a prayer. That came later when it was down and codified. It's a living practice. If you look in the Bible, there's a moment when some of his followers who had been around him came to him and said, kind of like, hey, dude, the water into wine thing and the walking on water and the healing of the sick, it's like, this is blowing our minds. Like, how do you do this? Like, what? He said, so you want to learn how to do these things? Yes. Like, how do you attune? It got translated as, how do you pray? But for Jeshua, prayer means to attune to the flow of the divine potentials of God. How do I come into attunement truly and align with that flow? And the first thing he said to them was, Avun Shemaya, translated as Our Father who is in heaven. So God becomes a male and is in heaven somewhere else.
Interesting.
That's not what it means at all. Avun is it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Think of Avun. Think of Avun as the verb of God, the image of how the depth of an ocean is constantly generating waves of its own being. And the waves want to reach the shore, and we are the shore, body, mind, heart. So the infinite divine is constantly emanating its light and its possibilities. The Washamaya, it's all around you. It pervades you. It's above you. It's below you. Start there. God is in everything. If you wanted to borrow from the Course, but to what degree do we actually realize it? Everywhere I look, God is pervading everything. If I can get out of my own mind and begin to rest into it. So Avon Vashamaya, the infinite divine, is emanating all the help, guidance, love, light you could even ever need. It's all around you, waiting for you to open and come into attunement with it. That's the meaning of the first line of the Lord's Prayer. So it's a little bit different than we may have received when we were going to Sunday school. It's like radically different.
Is that
Radically.
that something? Is this what you're going to explore in your book? This.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we've gone into it very deeply. As I said, this has been a several decade journey for me. Um, a lot of other people have dived in with me into we call them the living practices. And the prayer itself is almost like a step by step journey of attunement, healing, forgiveness, coming into a genuine sense of empowerment. In fact, the Lord's Prayer ends. Um, the real meaning of it is now that we've attuned, we've forgiven, we're restored in original flow. Now the divine is here with us as we move through the moments of our day, aligned, devoted, and in
Practical.
flow. It's
It's
very practical,
very
very practical.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that
Yeah.
do you have did you write that out already? Or is that available or not?
Yeah, I created an entire course called the Aramaic Lord's Prayer that's available at Way of Mastery. But I want to
I'm gonna
create a
put that on the
book.
I'm gonna put the
Yeah.
website on the description, but go ahead.
Okay. Right now, I've always waited. I don't do anything until I feel like he gives me a green light. Now it's time. Then I go do. So it's time I want to create a book that's like, imagine a teacher sitting down with a young teenager and guiding them bit by bit to unfold what's really in the prayer and give simple guided meditations and living practices to help them integrate it into their lives. Non academic, experiential. That's the idea of the book. And then from there, people they'll be able to download an audio and learn how to say it in Aramaic. And
Wow.
if they want, they can access the entire course, which is really about really in depth going through the prayers, living practice, and integrating it bit by bit and increasingly into our daily lives, which is the only place real transformation can occur. Is
Mm,
exactly in the world that we have made.
wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I will put the website here so that way people can connect with you and also um, look up that course. And I feel that it has so much value, especially for
Mm.
people that are interested in these
Mhm.
things. It's just so radical. What you just told me, I'm still like speechless. I don't even know what to say. It's
Yeah,
like it's good
that's what
news.
happens. It's
It's
like,
good news,
yeah.
but it's like
Yeah.
you said, I don't know how you said it, but you said um utterly lost in translation. It's like
Mhm.
it's even more
Yeah.
than that. It's wow. So I think it's a great that this is coming to light. I feel that this message is obviously needed and that now you're giving voice to it and allowing it to come through you. I feel that it's really going to give so many people trust and another perspective and getting away from
Mm.
fear, of this fear
Yeah.
message. And
Mhm.
I think if anything that we can learn from what you just said is don't believe everything that you think in the sense of even literally, but also what we think is real and go more to exploration to see what feels good for you. There's so much out there
Yeah.
that kind of could take away and kind of maneuver us into fear and such. And um, yeah, the time has come to,
Yeah. There is.
so
I agree with you totally. And I guess if I could look into the eyes of everyone who may be watching or listening right now, it's take a breath. The kingdom of heaven is within. There is a light and a guidance that knows how to unfold you.
yep.
You don't have to be afraid of the world or judge it, nor do you need to grasp and hope. Okay, Holy Spirit, as we are familiar with Holy Spirit, and that has its roots in Aramaic too. It's like, I know you're with me. What's what's the greatest next step? What will really help me unfold in love? We live in that desire and that question. Spirit knows how to whisper to us and get our attention. And the next step is unfolded, like Way of Mastery came to you at just the right time. Like, how does that happen? You can call it grace, but it's very real. living energy that the ego has forgotten even exists. I'm alone. I have to figure it out. That's not true. I'm never alone. I cannot figure it out. I need to rest in poor in spirit and invite the divine to help me see and show me the direction. And as you know, when that happens, we feel it in our being. Ha, I see. Oh, now I get it. This is the best direction. This is the best choice. So it's like it attunes us to this deep source of light and wisdom. We feel it in the heart more than an idea in the mind. And there's something that just knows. Oh, yes, I get it now. Okay. Now change can take place. We could say everything he does, in whatever way he does it, is designed to help all beings come back into this realization that union with the divine has never really been lost. It's just been forgotten. And to reattune and realize, I don't need to look out. I need to look in. And when I do that, you could say, there is God winking at us. It's like, yep, I'm here. Listen, turn left now. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let me take you on the journey.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, Jam, you have taken us on such a beautiful journey. Thank you, Spirit, for this conversation and all the knowledge.
Mhm.
Anyone that's listening to this right now on either on podcast or on YouTube or watching this is just such a beautiful message that we all have that kingdom of God within us. We all have that voice. We all can channel. We're it's just such a gift that we have, and it's not like exclusive to just Jesus. On the contrary, JM has just told
Mhm.
us it's for everyone. And
It's forever.
yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
the time has come for, just everyone know that there's just so much more than
So much.
so much
I
more than
love what you just I love what you just said. We're all channels. This is absolutely true. You could say, begin to realize all I have ever done is selected frequencies. I channel them, I let them live in my being, and then they shape my life, and that's what's expressing out to the world. Have I channeled self doubt? Have I channeled unworthiness? Have I channeled fear? These are all choices we made that shape our experience and limit or color what can be expressed through us. So, if we all lived in the question, what would it be like to channel the highest, most creative, most inspiring frequencies? That's what Christ's mind is really all about, that journey.
yeah.
But we are all, you could say, oh, I thought I was a separate being, but I'm really a conduit through which vibrations, frequencies channel fear, doubt, domination, the need to control, the need to be right. Who would I be if those were gone? And all that was wanting to come through was the infinite power of love, of light, to liberate others, to demonstrate what's possible, and to invite all beings to become infinitely free. Not later when they die because of a belief that says Jesus died and saved me from my sins, but because we really heard the message that he brought and lived. It's here, it's now. In the Course in Miracles, this beautiful thing he says to Helen, heaven is not a place, it's not out there. Heaven is here. There is no other place. You're in it now. Its potentials are all around you. Dare we let go of our patterns and beliefs and discover what may be beyond the edge of my known world? Can I contact my heart and realize that the divine is there? just waiting for us. And
Wow.
its infinite light can begin to bring illumination, healing, understanding, transformation as we become increasingly what Joshua demonstrated so well. We can all become conduits of the divine, of love.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Jayam. And if you listen to these words right now, it's something that there's no coincidence, you're ready for that experience, but you're ready, to channel something different, something extraordinary. Why? Because you are so freaking worthy of it. And if you can't see me right now, I'm putting my hands up. You're so worthy of that. The time has come. Thank you, JM, so much. I know that this episode has touched and will touch many, many, many lives. And happy that you and I could come together to channel this beautiful message together as we do the happy dance.
Mm. Yes. It's been a joy to be with you. Blessings to everybody who may be watching or listening. Make the journey. You're worth it and it's available. Why not?
Why not? Exactly why. Much love.
Take good care. Thank you.
Much love. All right.
Bye bye.